I cannot wait to introduce you to this ray of sunshine sitting next to me. I have with me today Leslie Garcia. She works in the salon Time to Tease, but her business, Nailed in Love, which I freaking love, is what we're going to start talking about. I'm super excited. So tell us a little bit about Nailed in Love and what totally separates you from other manicurists.
So I am a professional manicurist, and I actually do dry manicuring. So there's no soaking, no water, no cuticle softener. Everything is with an e-file. So it's an electric file. And I've taken courses on how to properly use them on cuticles. And everyone has different type of cuticles. So it's a very custom manicure.
Right.
So what I may use on you, I may not use on Christina.
Right.
So it's just very custom.
Yeah. And so I know everybody out there is like, what? Like, you're not going to soak my cuticles. You're not. So tell us a little bit about the benefits of doing it this way. And I will say also, I've tried it and there is no uncomfortable feeling about it. Like it is so smooth and easy. You feel nothing, which is so counterintuitive to what we're taught. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So what are the benefits of the dry manicure?
Dry manicuring, and it helps with dry cuticles. So over time, it takes, yes, the dry skin is less. And of course, it does require at-home care, and it's cuticle oil.
Sure.
Keeping your hands moisturized.
Sure.
Treating them like jewels, not tools. And yeah, totally.
I
Right?
love that.
Right? And it also helps with product adhesion. You know, if you properly take care of your nails at home, the product is less likely to lift.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And so what prompted you to start doing this and that particular type of manicuring specifically?
I became a little fixated on these images I would see on Pinterest.
Okay.
And I was like, how do you achieve that? How do you get that? And I began to research it, and it was a lot of European beauty, a lot of Russian manicures.
Okay.
And my husband was actually the one that kind of gave me the push, and he was like, I remember mentioning to him, I feel like my creative juices just aren't being fed. And he goes, why don't you do manicuring? He's all, you never leave the salon happy. He goes, so what better person to do it than someone who's a bit of a perfectionist? And he's the one that's pushed me through it, because there's been so many times where I'm like, I'm done.
Well, starting a new business is not an easy thing.
Not at all.
How long have you been doing this full time?
Full time? Not long, actually. I've been doing it for 3 years, but full time of a year now, actually, this past July.
That's right, here at Time to Tease for a year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you did something completely different before.
Yes, I was in public education as a paraeducator.
Okay.
And it felt a little selfish leaving at first, because it was just such a heart-filling job. You know, I would go home with such a full heart, like, oh, I'm so happy and, you know, loved my students. And when I did this, or decided to, like, try this full tick for 10 years.
Wow.
And I just felt a little selfish leaving, and I didn't see how I could make someone's day by doing nails, but my perspective has totally shifted on that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So going to that job, I mean, what prompted you to make the change? Because 10 years is a long time to be somewhere.
Totally. For a long time, I thought that that's what I was going to do and dedicate my life to, but I just didn't feel fulfilled myself, right? Like I said, I would go home with a full heart, and it felt like I was doing good in the world. But creatively speaking, it just, that was not being fulfilled.
It was lacking.
Myself. Yes, right. That cup was not being filled.
Yeah, and I can tell that creative cup is really important to you, along, like hand in hand with giving back. So how do you feel that you are making somebody's day or filling their cup and getting that same experience that you got from the children, and then also you're being creative? So what do you do every day for people that would give them that?
Listening to them. I think sometimes I am that 1 hour to 2 hours, depending on your service, that, you know, they are able to express themselves. And sometimes they don't even want to talk. And I am perfectly okay with that.
Right.
You know, I get clients where sometimes, are you okay if I don't talk? More than fine. Yeah. I'm here to help you relax and make your day. And sometimes they come and they unload, and I'm here for that too.
Right. It kind of comes hand in hand.
Most definitely.
Right. I love that. So, you know, your services, again, it's manicure, pedicure, and whatnot, and that's your creative outlet. Like, talk to me a little bit about the creativity behind it.
Most definitely. So a lot of my clientele is actually less is more.
Okay.
So a lot of them are, you know, solid color girlies, and I love that. I will not push them to do anything else. If that's what they like, that's what they like. So creatively, yes, I'm not getting to draw whatever I want or paint whatever I want, but social media wise is where I'm feeling that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I never would have thought that. I fell
Yeah.
in love with recording. I fell in love with creating the reels.
Uh-huh.
I just love it, and I love helping the team too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that as well. Like, what is your what all are you doing with that?
I'm just making reels for the girls if they need help and they say,
Yeah.
hey, can you film? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Or, hey, how do you edit this? I love doing that. And I've noticed that there are just so many outlets where you can be creative.
Mm.
And I think I was just always limiting myself to one thing.
Right.
And through doing manicuring, I discovered that there are just so many ways to be creative. Displaying your product, displaying your, other product that I sell as well. So it's just,
Yeah.
creatively speaking, I feel like it's endless.
That's interesting. And what prompted you to become a manicurist? Like outside of seeing things on Pinterest or whatnot, it's like that specific thing. What prompted that?
Like I said, I think it was more my husband planting that seed.
Yeah.
Because I remember he would tell me, you're germaphobe. You don't like seeing things get used over and over again. And, you never leave the salon happy. So it almost became like a task of, be the manicurist you would want to go to.
Right. Right.
And for a while too, I remember wanting to not do it. And I would have reached out to a friend who also is a manicurist. And I was like, here, take all my product. I quit.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I didn't,
Yeah.
because it has just led to so many different creative outlets. And,
Right.
and I feel that I provide a service that I would want.
Right. Right. And I know that you trained a lot to learn this specific type of manicuring. So because people don't do it here. So you had to go and search that out. How was that
definitely about? I've attended a couple of courses in Orange County. There's a lady there by the name of Rachel. I love her. She's a mentor. I always reach out to her. She's always willing to answer questions. And I think just always learning, because even now I'm far from where I would want to be. And I think we're forever learning.
Yeah.
Forever growing.
100%. Right. Because if you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not doing anything.
Most
you know what I mean? So 100% true. So how has your business grown here in the past year? How's that been going for you?
I would say I've doubled my clientele.
Mm-hmm.
I could always grow more.
Sure.
Almost willing to take all of you. But I'm also not in a rush. I'm at a pace in life where, who's meant to be in my chair will be in my chair. Even if it's for one service, that's fine. Mm-hmm. I feel like we were just meant to cross for that one appointment, and that's okay.
Yeah. What are some interesting things you've learned about people sitting across from them?
Oh my goodness. I would always say that I did not have patience for adults, that I only had patience for children. Mm-hmm. And I've come to learn that we're all just trying to heal.
Yeah. Oh.
I think that we're all just trying to heal, and I have a different perspective for adults now. I have a soft spot for them. Mm-hmm. I love being able to make their day, being able to be a blessing for them. I feel like it's not what can you do for me, but what can I do for you?
Right.
Like, how can I help you?
Right. And have you always approached it that way? Or
No.
Okay. So how did that come about?
I think just for me, relying on my faith and almost snapping out of things. Like I suffered a really big loss a couple years ago, and I think that shifted the perspective. Like,
sure,
life's too short. Why are you moping around? Like, let's get to it.
Right. Well, something like that can always change you, or it will always change you, but how you allow it to change you is really important, right? Because it can take you either way, and so if you can focus it on capitalizing on what you can do and your skills. So clearly, like the few times that we've spoken, it's so clear that you are able to listen authentically to people and take in what they're giving you. It's like that's what your energy says. And like when Christina and I have always talked like how wonderful you are about that, you really translate when you're sitting across from you. And I can imagine how soothing that is for somebody who's had like a fucked up day and they can barely run in as fast as they can and sit down with you. I think it's very soothing for sure. For sure. I love that too.
I love that I can do that for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, when it comes to the manicure itself, like, I think it's brilliant. And I remember when I walked out of here, speaking of that, I want to schedule like another appointment too. I was so surprised at how my hands looked, but also how long it lasted. Like, so do you feel like this method just helps it to last? I mean, a manicure lasts so much longer?
Most definitely. I think so too. I think that it does. Mm-hmm. I think that once you experience it like you did yourself, it changes you, right?
Right.
Because it feels like when you get that wet manicure, it's a little hard to see the dry skin.
Right.
As to when you're working on dry skin directly, you can exactly see where the dry skin is and what we're targeting. As to whether it's when it's soaked, I mean, it's a little hard to tell what's dry, what's not.
Sure. I love that. Yes, it's exactly right. I was really surprised. Yes, I was really surprised because sometimes when I go to get a manicure, it feels a little like there's a little bit of a harshness, a little bit,
yes.
you know, and I never felt that in this little procedure. So I was super surprised.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I actually have another client who mentioned that she feels the reason she continues to come is gentle. She goes, yes. You're gentle. She goes, there's no other way for me to describe it besides you're gentle with me. I don't feel discomfort, and I love that. I love that I can be a safe place.
Right.
Not only for your conversations,
sure,
but for your
services. Yeah, yes. Yeah. So what would you say to somebody who, you know, is not completely fulfilled in a really good job, and it's one they should probably stay in because you can retire and have benefits, but you just don't feel like you're fulfilled, and you need to make a change. Like you did that. That's yes. something that you did. What would you say to somebody who's kind of on the fence or just feels like it's not possible for them?
I would say just do it. I think that for a long time I tried to iron out all the wrinkles before I could start. Mm-hmm. And had I started when I actually wanted to, I'm sure we'd be at a different place, but I'm okay with where I am.
Right.
And I think just better start now than later because time's going to keep going.
Right.
And we're going to keep aging.
True story.
So, you know, try it. At least that way you can say, you know what, I tried it, whether you succeeded, whether you failed, and it'll lead you to where you're supposed to be.
Right. And you had a good support system with your husband.
100%, which I know not everyone does. And that is a huge, huge blessing for me.
Yeah. Because to go from a steady paycheck.
Oh, yeah.
Right. To something you're not sure, like you have to build it up. Mm-hmm. Right. And creating, like getting somebody even just to come in here and walk.
To take a chance on you.
Yeah.
And I think just seeing it just like that, right? Mm-hmm. That they don't have to come to you, but they choose to come to you.
Right.
And yes, if it was not for my support system, I wouldn't have been able to make that change because he was the one that told me just, if there's a time to quit, it's now.
Right.
Because I just was not, I was so used to the steady hours,
right?
Benefits, mm-hmm. All of it, all the benefits that come with working there.
Right.
But, yes.
And sometimes that's not enough.
It's not. Sometimes it's not. And I would say just do it and everything else will fall into place. It doesn't seem like it at the time, but it just does.
Yeah. How do people what's the best way to reach out to you for an appointment? Or
through DMs or through my cell phone number, which can also be found on my profile, or if you DM me.
Yeah. And what is your profile?
My Instagram name is Nailed in Love, and my phone number is 760-574-8655.
And you did mention something. The service is about an hour. Like it's not a quick thing.
It is not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's very detailed. And I always tell guests, I'm not for everybody, but if you are willing to sit there and be pampered, I promise you will love it. And it's an experience. I will definitely say that.
I totally agree about that. Best piece of advice that somebody's given you?
Best piece of advice. Time waits for nobody. Yes.
Yeah. I that's very true.
Right? Yes. Yeah. I think it's easy to just, let the day go by, but it's like, so many people do so much in 24 hours. Like you and Christina, you guys are go-getters, and I love that.
Yeah, well, it takes one to know one. You know what I mean? And
we're surrounded by them too.
Yeah, and that's the other part is who are you surrounding yourself with?
Oh, and that is everything. And I think Elsie, the owner of Time to Tease, she's a blessing to anyone she knows. She believes in your dreams more than you believe in them yourself. And
she's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that environment here helps somebody starting out like yourself, or even somebody who's been in the business for a while, to really create like a community around it, because you can't just do it on your own.
You cannot.
Right? You can't. And you do need your people. You do need people that are growing like faster than you are, so you can kind of watch that, and you also need to be the example for the other ones coming in.
Most definitely.
And I think that that's the environment here too.
Most definitely.
So shameless plug for Time to Tease on San Pablo as well. We love you, Elsie. Yeah, for sure.
We do.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to say that we haven't already talked about?
Not that I can think of. Come experience a dry manicure for yourself.
Yes. I will say that I think you would be changed
Yes.
I think you would be changed. We're going to get you so busy that you're going to have to teach somebody else how to do
right?
it.
Have
a little apprentice.
Wingman, right? Not a wingman, sorry. I'm married. Not a wingman.
An apprentice.
An apprentice.
Perhaps. Yeah. That's our goal. We're going to tell everybody. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Thank you, ladies.
We appreciate you so much, Leslie.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for spending the time.
No, thank you for having me.
Oh, girl. We love you. We love you.